Yo, what is good everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're doing an Amazon employee Q&A. So you guys sent in a bunch of questions on my previous videos. I had two previous videos where I asked you guys to send in some questions and you guys sent a lot, but I chose 10. I chose 10 of the ones that I thought would be the most interesting and ones that I really wanted to answer. So yeah, I got 10 questions and 10 answers coming right up for you. Let's get straight into it. So my first question here comes in from Eric McKinney and he asks, do you ever get raises and are there any bonuses? So you do get raises, but they're not that big, honestly. So the very first raise that you get, I believe, comes after 18 months. So in your year and a half mark, you get a 15-cent raise, which actually isn't that great. For 18 months, you only get 15 cents, which obviously isn't a lot at all. So it's not the best. And I believe after that, like you only get like 10 and 15-cent raises. The raises aren't great at all. You don't really get a good amount of raises. Like they're not really super high in pay, unfortunately. But we did recently just get a big raise where everyone got at least a minimum of 50 cents. That came because I guess like Target and like HEB and a lot of other places are starting to raise their minimum wages to like $16, $18 an hour, $20 an hour. Like the minimum wage is going up in terms of like stores and other competitors of Amazon. So they did raise our wages then. They made the new minimum wage $15.50. At first it was $15, now it's $15.50, and I got a 75-cent raise for being there for over 6 months. So that's pretty cool. And I believe at a year mark I will get another 25 cents. I haven't actually asked about that yet, but at the time of the raises it said that if you were 6 months you have 50 or 75-cent raise, and if you've been here for a year you will get $1 raise. So I think if you hit that year mark it might give you that little extra 25 cents. I have to ask about that, but I'm pretty sure that it will. So we did get better raises now, and I think that the raises going forward are going to be better. But prior to that and prior to the big competitive wage raise, it was like very little raises. And the other question is, do you get bonuses? We do. We got a lot of bonuses during COVID time. It's actually been a while since my location has gotten a bonus. I think the last time we got a bonus was like earlier this year in 2021, and I believe it was like a $250 bonus. So we do get bonuses I would say quite often, like at least once or twice or maybe like 3 times a year. But I don't know if that's only because it's COVID. Like I only started working here during the COVID era, so I'm not sure if we're getting these bonuses because of COVID, because a lot of them said that they were for COVID. I don't know if outside of COVID era you get a lot of bonuses. If anybody who's worked at Amazon for longer than me, go ahead and comment down below if you get bonuses more often than that. But I've gotten like 3 bonuses since I started working here, which I think is a pretty good amount. I've almost been here for an entire year now, so that's a pretty good amount in my opinion. And yeah, to answer the question, we do get bonuses. The next question comes from JS, another great video friend. I would love to know, what are the best and easiest positions, and is it easy to get promoted? So I've done 4 positions total in the warehouse. I've done pick, I've done stow, I've done the shipping dock, inbound shipping dock, and I've done water spider. And I'm gonna go ahead and I've only done 4, so I'm gonna go ahead and rank those from like best to worst. So in my number 1, I would probably go either pick or stow. I'm gonna go with pick because it gets you through the day a little bit faster, because in pick you're constantly working. Like it's non-stop work. The pods like rarely ever freeze up. You almost never run out of work to actually work on, and it's just constant work. And when it's constant work like that, your day is going by fast. It's going by so much faster. That's what I like about pick, because you never run out of work and you're just there constantly working. And if you can go ahead and find a way to get through the day, it'll go by so quickly. So number 1, I would say pick. I wouldn't say that that's technically the easiest, because like I said, it is a lot of work, and after 10 hours you're gonna leave pretty tired, and there's a lot of bending down when it comes to pick. Like the pods are like lower, so it's a lot of bending down whenever you're doing pick compared to stow, but it makes the day go by faster. And in my opinion, that's like more mentally easy, so it's easier in my opinion. But after that, I would put stow in second. Stow is extremely easy. I think it's probably technically the easiest position to do. It just that the day doesn't go by as fast, and there's some periods where you might run out of work, and those are the worst periods, because if you're sitting there for like an hour or 2 with no work and nothing to do, just your thoughts, it is so boring. Honestly, it's super mentally challenging. You don't run out of work that often, but there's been a bunch of times where I've run out of work, and it makes stow unbearable. But overall, when it's a regular day of stow, I think stow would probably be second. It's easy, it's nice, it's a good day. As long as you can get to the day with your own thoughts and maybe just finding a way to get through that, you'll be good, you'll be fine. Stow is easy. And then third, I would probably put water spider, I guess. Water spider sucks because Water spider reminds me of working at a restaurant. You're constantly having to feed people their work, and it just reminds me of a restaurant, honestly. It's super, super fast paced. I know pick and stow are fast paced as well, but this one is just, I don't like it, because it's not like the robots are waiting on you like how in pick and stow is. It's actual people, and sometimes they can get so annoyed if you're not going fast enough. Sometimes you might have a bad day where there's not a lot of water spiders and you're working with like 9 different stations, 11 different, I've done 11 different stations before, and it just sucks overall. I'd have to say stow or water spider is third. If you guys have watched my other videos, you guys know how much I hate water spider, but I wouldn't put it last. I would put shipping dock last. Shipping dock isn't even terrible. It's just a lot of work. Like, your body is going to be extremely physically exhausted by the end of the day. Eventually you get used to it, but if you do like a week of this and you haven't done that prior to that, it's gonna suck. Shipping dock is just unloading the trucks, you know, putting boxes on pallets, unloading the whole entire truck. It takes a couple of hours. And overall, it's challenging. This one is very physically challenging and less mentally challenging as the other positions, but it still is the worst in my opinion, because you're doing all this hard work just to get paid the same amount as the other guys. Like, compare yourself to shipping dock, where you're working hard all day and by like the 7th or 8th hour you're really, really tired, compared to stow where you're working hard but it's nowhere near compared to the shipping dock. So I would say shipping dock is probably the worst. I don't know, maybe water spiders. Water spiders really bad too. One of those two are last. I'm gonna have to give those like an even little thing, but shipping dock, you're just working so much harder for the same amount of pay as the other position. So I'd have to say that those two are last, shipping dock and water spider. And then the last one, is it easy to get promoted? Honestly, I honestly couldn't tell you. I have no idea, because I've never been promoted. I've been a tier 1 position since I started working here. So unfortunately, I can't tell you how easy it is to get promoted, but I'm pretty sure if you're in good standings with the manager and you work there, you work for a while, you go and try out a bunch of different positions, and then you eventually apply for a PA, because I don't think they directly come and promote you, but you can ask, or maybe they'll suggest it to you. They'll ask you if you want to become a PA or not, which is a personal assistant to the AMs, which are the area managers. So I think that you can get promoted. You just have to work there for quite some time and kind of learn the ins and outs of everything. And I think eventually you can. So I would say, maybe, I don't know if it's easy or not, but I know that it's very possible. The next question comes in from Binafu, and he asks, what is the pay rate? I already kind of answered this earlier, but the current minimum wage is $15.50. If you work nights, I believe it's $16.50. I believe you get $1 more if you work nights, or just a little bit extra pay if you work nights. So if you're looking for a little bit more money, go ahead and work nights. But yeah, for just the regular minimum wage, it's $15.50. Depending on what state you live in, it could be higher. Like, I know like California and New York and stuff, they make like 18 plus. So the minimum wage is different everywhere, but overall it's $15.50 at Amazon at every location. Next one comes in from Sarah A. Are we allowed to say no when they say to be a water spider? That's my biggest fear and why I'm not applying right now. So if I were you, I would just go ahead and apply regardless. They're probably not going to ask you to water spider for the first few months, to be honest. But can you say no? Yes. And should you say no? It's up to you. I would say at least try water spider out at first and see if you like it or not. Then if you don't like it afterwards, go ahead and say no. But if they're hiring you on and you're being hired on as like stow, you don't have to do water spider. They might ask you, but the truth is that if you just say no and you're really, really, truly not comfortable with doing it, you don't have to do it. Don't do something you're not comfortable with in the warehouse. If you don't want to do water spider, I know a lot of people hate water spider. I would just say don't do it. If they ask you, just don't do it. At first, I had troubles with that. If you guys have watched my previous videos, you guys would know I've had troubles with that before, but eventually I got around to just saying like, hey, I really hate this, man. Like, I really hate doing water spider. Please just don't ask me anymore. And they haven't asked me in a while. Shipping dock, they stopped completely asking me because I said no. And it's just, if you don't feel comfortable doing something, just say no. Because if they needed you to do those positions, they would have hired you into those positions. That's the thing. And I know water spider, they can't officially hire you into water spider. Like, it's not an official position. Shipping dock is, but water spider is not. But at the same time, I believe they need to make that an official position that they hire people on with, because at my warehouse specifically, and I'm pretty sure other warehouses as well, nobody wants to do water spider. It's a position that they ask everybody for every day, and people just say no because they don't want to do it. And people that used to do it all the time, they get really tired of it and they're just like, nah, I'm done. But to answer your question, yeah, you don't have to do it, trust me. Just just say no. The next question comes in from Kathy Alvarez, a person who's commented a lot and watched a lot of my videos, so shout out to you. And she asks, how can you check about your 5% since you said don't go under 5%? So this is in reference to a previous video where I said you'll get written up if you go below 5%. So there's no way for you to officially actually check yourself, but if you have the FC games on, there's these new things called FC games. I don't think all warehouses have them yet, but some of them have gotten them, and I believe more and more will get them. It's basically a second screen. If you're stowing or picking, it's a second screen that you'll have, and it's like, it has like games on it and stuff. But in those games, you can see your rankings, and if you switch to units per hour, that'll show your ranking. So if you're lower down than that, if you're like super low down, like let's say there's 200 people and you're like 199, you're in the bottom 5% and you need to stow faster or you're gonna get written up. So that's one way to check, just going through FC games and seeing how your units per hour are doing and where you are in the leaderboards. But if you don't want to check that way, you can also go ahead and check through the problem solver. Or if you don't have FC games at all, you can go ahead and ask a problem solver. I'm not sure if all of them do it, but I know that the ones that I've asked, they'll go ahead and check your rate and they'll see if you're in the bottom 5% or how you're doing. They'll basically tell you all your numbers. So yeah, if you're looking to see how you're doing that day, you can ask a problem solver when they come around if you're stowing, or if you're picking. I'm not really sure how that would work, but for sure if you're stowing or if you're like in that position in general, you can go ahead and ask the problem solver and they'll let you know how you've done today. So the next one comes in from Bex, and Bex says, hi, I'm starting in a couple weeks. I work 4 days, 10-hour shifts. I'm full-time, but assuming I'll start off as a white badge. If I need a day off for a birthday or something, is it easy to get the day off? Do white badges also start off with 20 UPT, or how does PTO and VTO work? So there's a lot of questions in here, so I'll go ahead and individually break down each of these. The first one I'll go ahead and answer is, if I need a day off or a birthday or something, is it easy to get the day off? So the answer is yes. If you're just looking to get one individual day off and not a whole vacation, you can easily, like you can literally call in on the day of, or not call in because you don't have to actually call anybody. But if you go through the ATZ app, you can go ahead and put some time, you can request a time off. It's so simple. Getting the day off, as long as you have time to take off, getting the day off is super easy. You can clock out in the middle of your shift and take time off if you want to. You can clock out an hour before your shift ends and take time off. You can clock out like a week before, or not clock out, but you can put your time off a week before. You can put your time off the day of. You can put your time off the day before. Like, so simple at Amazon to take time off, because you can literally use your time off at any time that you want. It makes it so simple, and that's like what I really like about it. One of the next questions asked is, do white badges also start off with 20 UPT, or how does PTO and VTO work? So if you're a white badge, you don't get UPT. UPT is for blue badges or permanent hires. Seasonal badges, or seasonal people or white badges, they only get something called the point system. The point system, it depends on location how many points you start off with, but at my location when I was a white badge, you started off with 6 points, and let's say you missed a day of work, it would take off a point and a half. So that's pretty much how the point system works. Like, every time you leave or clock out too early or something, you'll have a point taken away. And if you go below 0 points, you get fired. So it's very similar to UPT, but it's different in a way as well. So yeah, white badges do not get UPT. And PTO and VTO, PTO is personal time off. It works the same as every other job you take. If you don't want to go to work or you want to take off or something, you use your PTO. And then for VTO, VTO is only offered by your managers. You can't take VTO yourself. VTO is voluntary time off. It's basically like if it's really slow at the warehouse or something like that, they'll ask if you want to take VTO. It doesn't happen too often, but when it does, I suggest you take it if you can, because it's basically a free day off of work. You don't get paid for it, unfortunately, but they'll come and ask, hey, you want some VTO? And sometimes they ask in the very beginning of the shift. Sometimes they put it out they'll put a notification on your phone before the shift even starts, or sometimes they'll ask in the middle of the shift. And sometimes they even ask like 2 hours or an hour before your shift ends. They'll ask if you want VTO. And yeah, VTO is just voluntary time off. They ask you, you say yes, you scan your badge, and that's it. You can go ahead and clock out. They won't take any of your PTO or UPT, or they won't take any points away from you. And yeah, you get the day off. It's unpaid, unfortunately, but it's a free day off. The next question comes from Cirrus070. Can you use headphones at least while working? Unfortunately, you're not allowed to. Some people hide them, and some people don't even hide them. Some people just have them out, which is super risky, because when you do that, you're really risking a write-up, because there's people that walk around checking for those, and they don't do it that often, to be honest, but when they do, they write people up constantly, or at least scan their badge as a warning. But yeah, you're not allowed to use headphones. You're not allowed to have your phones or any of that. Right now you can, because of COVID, you can have your phones, but after COVID, I'm not sure if that's going to stay, but headphones for sure, you're not allowed to use headphones. You can use them in the break room and stuff, but during work and during your shift, no, for sure not. You cannot use headphones at work, unfortunately. Next question comes in from Joy G. How long do they give new hires to make rate before they start getting written up? So if you don't make your rate, you're not necessarily going to get written up. It's just if you fall below the 5% mark. But to answer your question, you get like a 3 week to a month grace period. I would say usually around the 3 week mark is when they start like really taking your rate into consideration. And if you're not doing really, like if you're falling below the 5% by then, you're gonna probably get written up or at least talked to. But for sure, like by the 3rd and 4th week, like it's probably, you're expected to make your rate by then. But for new employees, like the first 2 weeks, I think you're pretty much good. And the next question comes in from Thurma Bernal. I feel like we're kind of flying through these. And sorry if I butchered that name, by the way, but I feel like we're kind of flying through these. But they ask, how is it working holidays at Amazon? Can you take holidays off? So you could take holidays off if you have time off to use, but if you don't have time off, no, you cannot take holidays off. The only holiday we get off is Christmas. We have to work every single holiday if your schedule is on that day. So if you work like Wednesday through Friday and like Thanksgiving ends up on a Thursday, you have to go to work. But if it's like on a Monday, obviously you don't have to go to work. So if a holiday lands on the day that you're scheduled, you have to go to work unless it's Christmas. That's unfortunately the only day that we get off. But for other holidays, we do get holiday pay, which is time and a half. So that whole entire time you're making more money anyway. So I mean, if you want to take time off, you can, but if you want to go ahead and hit that time and a half, that's also an option on holidays. So yeah, we only get Christmas off, and we can take the day off if we have time to use, but we don't just get it off at all unless it's Christmas. And I didn't even notice, but this is the last question. Man, we flew through these questions pretty quickly. If you guys want me to do another one of these, go ahead and comment some questions down below. And if this hits, like, let's say 100 likes. If this hits 100 likes, I'll go ahead and do another one of these. So if you guys want some more questions and you want them to be answered, go ahead and comment them down below. And yeah, let's get on with the last question. It's from Kriston Gaming, a good friend of mine. He's a FIFA YouTuber, so if you guys want to check out some FIFA content, you can go ahead and subscribe to him. I'll leave his link in the description below. But he asks, what is your favorite thing about the job? So this is a pretty big question, but I believe I can answer this one pretty easily. My favorite thing about the job is how introvert friendly it is. If you don't want to talk to anybody, you don't have to. And that's really helpful for people like me, because I'm very introverted and I just prefer to stick to myself for the most part. Sometimes I do want to talk to people. Obviously, everyone has that urge every once in a while. But for me, it's more often that I'd rather not talk to anybody. I'm heavily introverted. So one of my favorite things about this job is that it's introvert friendly. You know, you can work at your station alone and not really have to talk to anybody for the entire day. And it's just super clutch. So I would say that's one of my favorite things about this job, but I do like the job overall. And yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and end that video there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun filming this one. I kind of flew by those questions. If there's anything that you had, any more questions, or if you wanted me to go more into detail on one of the questions that I kind of just flew by, comment them down below. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you please subscribe down below. I have more Amazon content coming out, but I also do other videos as well. I do a lot of gaming videos. I'm mainly a gaming channel. I just make Amazon videos on the side, but if you're into gaming as well, go ahead and subscribe. Right now I'm doing a FIFA 21 player career mode series, but afterwards, I'm not sure what we're gonna do. There's Halo Infinite coming out. There's Back 4 Blood coming out. There's a lot of games that I want to play coming out. So I guess we'll see what's next.
Okay, we'll see what happens next, okay?
But for now, I'm gonna leave that there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe down below. And remember, if we get 100 likes, I'll go ahead and do another one of these. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Love you all. Peace.